これはもう間違ってるかもしれない。こんな小さくないかったけど。合ってるかもしれない。
It's faster than using software. Hardware that is use the dedicated features of the CPU to encrypt. This is just a software running on my computer using the general purpose CPU to encrypt. Nowadays, CPUs have special instructions that are built just to decrypt data, and especially for AES. So my Intel CPU has, so you know the instructions, the assembly instructions of your CPU, one of them is an AES operation. So it's being built into the CPU just to do encryption and decryption fast. And in fact, I can tell OpenSSL to use that. Before I forget the numbers, I'll write them down. Approximately, we got, with DES, we got about 9.5 million per 3 seconds. With triple DES, we got about 4.8, I think it was, million per 3. With AES, in software, we got about 15.5 million per 3 seconds. Now I'm going to do AES in hardware. That is, just the special instructions inbuilt on my Intel CPU to do the test and see if that's faster. Don't look at my password. First, let's see what CPU I have so we can compare. My CPU, my laptop's several years old now. An Intel i7, a mobile version, maybe 3 or 4 years old. Details about that. These things of interest. The features supported by this CPU, it supports a special set of instructions.
合ってる合ってる。石船ありました。これ県道こんなに細いんだ。こっちにマップルに県道バス停が乗ってるから分かるよ。
million per 3 seconds. You see a big jump in speed here. It's almost 6 times faster than the same algorithm implemented just in software to use the CPU hardware instructions, and 10 times faster than DES. So AES, because it's also widely used, now has hardware support, and many devices can now encrypt using hardware, which AES very fast. So that's about 30 million per second. Still, that's only 10 to the power 7 operations per second. Our example numbers here said assume we can do 10 to the power 9 per second, but my laptop can do maybe a 10 to the power 8. So it's getting close to here, but still 10 or 100 times slower than this column. In a moment I'll show you some examples of some dedicated hardware for breaking ciphers and see what speeds they get to finish today. Before that, what if we use a 128-bit key as in AES? 2 to the power. If we had access to computers that could do 10 to the power 15 operations per second, maybe I had 1 million laptops like mine, or 10 million laptops all doing it at the same time, then I could break that in about 10 to the power 16 years. And note down the bottom, the age of the universe is about 10 to the power 10 years. That is, to do a brute force attack on AES, I'd have to wait for the universe to end. And I'm not prepared to wait that long. And that means that effectively, a 128-bit key is secure. A brute force attack is not possible. So we can see even probably less than 128 bits is still okay. 100 bits, even 80 bits. But with 128 bits, we're safe. Even if we have a government with not 1 million laptops, but 1 billion laptops, 1,000 times more processing power, then it just comes down to 10 to the power 13 years. And if they have the same number of computers, it still comes down to thousands of years before they can break AES. And if we have a 256-bit key, of course it takes even longer. So that's why we say a 128-bit key is secure against a brute force attack. It's not possible in practice. Questions before we have one last example? We started with some theoretical numbers, 10 to the power 9, 10 to the power 12, 15. I showed some examples of my laptop. The laptops are not built to defeat AES or DES. You can actually buy or build hardware specialized to defeat ciphers. So let's look at some of that hardware and see how it works. And I think if you flick forward a few slides, you'll see the separate set of slides that I give some data. It's on the course website, brute force, DES and AES as well, but I think you have it in your handouts. Let me bring it up. And we'll start with some old examples. So first looking at DES. We said with my laptop today it could not break DES. It would take maybe 8,000 days. But in 1998, so almost 20 years ago, the Electronic Frontier Frontiers Foundation, so DES was widely used at that stage, or was used in some cases. They built dedicated hardware. It cost about $250,000 US at that time, and it could do about 80 billion keys per second. So that 10 to the power 9 keys per second, about 80 times faster than that. And it could essentially defeat DES in a couple of days, a few days. So in 1998, you could build dedicated hardware to defeat DES. So DES was considered insecure even before then. That was just an example of it. You can find more about Deepcrack, that dedicated hardware, on those websites. More recently, but still 10 years ago, some German companies and universities built Copacabana. What they did is that they built some field programmable database, FPGAs they used, and programmed them just to defeat DES, to do DES decryptions. And this is the board, and these are the FPGAs that are slotted in there. That's from the company. They could do about 400 million operations per second per board, per FPGA, and with a set, they could break DES in about 8 days. But it only cost $10,000 in the case. At about the same time, the normal PC, a Pentium 4 at that time, could do about 2 million keys per second. A normal PC, about 2 million. This hardware could do about 400 million. So that's just an example. If you use specialized hardware, you can go much faster than a normal computer. If you apply those same numbers, everyone knows Moore's Law. You may have heard of Moore's Law, and it's more complex than I stated, but roughly, hardware doubles in performance every 18 months. That's the idea. That is, every 1.5 years. So if I buy a computer today, and in 1.5 years' time, for the same amount of money I buy a computer, then that future computer will be about 2 times better than my current one. Doubling performance every 18 months about. Or, the other way, if I spend 100,000 baht today to buy a computer, which gives some, then in 1.5 years I could spend 50,000 baht to get the same power computer, the same speed computer. If it halves in performance, it effectively halves in cost. If we apply that principle, then today, well, this was 2013, I haven't updated for a couple of years, but it would take maybe $300 to break DES. Maybe today it's down to $100, 3,000 baht, 4,000 baht to buy hardware to break DES. So anyone can do it, that's the point. DES is insecure. What about AES? The same company built hardware dedicated to AES. The AES 128-bit, they did a brute force attack, again using FPGAs. It cost about $100 per board. They could do about 500 million keys per second. They could do some faster ones with some specialized attacks, almost 1,000 million keys per second. And if you put numbers to that, approximately if you spend $15,000, this is 2013, you would do a brute force attack for $15,000 in 1.7 by 10 to the power 20 years with this hardware. So a brute force attack, if you spend this amount of money, would take about 10 to the power 20 years with dedicated hardware on AES. If you had more money, you could buy 1,000 of these. $15 million, you reduce to 10 to the power 17 years. If you had $50 billion, you do it in about 10 to the power 14 years. Still impossible. If you buy 1,000 again, spend even more money, you still can't break AES 128. That's the point. Well, I want to encrypt something today and make sure it's secure 10 years, 15 years in the future. I don't want someone to be able to decrypt it in the future. Well, if we extend maybe 15 to 2028, again, halves every 1.5 years. Approximately, in 2028, if I have $15 billion, then it'll still take 100 billion years to defeat AES 128. So, brute force attacks, in theory, are possible, but very easy to defend against by choosing a key length of 128 bits or larger. Questions before we move back to our lecture slides? Remember, how much does the cost to break AES? You don't need to remember all of them. But be aware that a brute force attack is not possible if you use a large enough key. This is trying to show that. And have an idea of how fast computers are with respect to encryption. Normal computers maybe millions of operations per second, hundreds of millions in some cases. Dedicated computers even faster. But when you have 228, it's still no use to do a brute force attack. So where do we get to? What about other attacks? Brute force attacks are the dumb approach. Just try everything. The smarter approach is to try to find some weaknesses in the algorithms, in the ciphers. And that's referred to as cryptanalysis. And there are many different ways to do cryptanalysis. And people try to find weaknesses in the ciphers, in DES, AES, and others. And some are found in theory. But with respect to AES, there are some known attacks on AES. The By-Cleef attack is one known one. The problem with these known attacks is that they don't reduce the brute force attack time by much. And they require some extra information to work. There is a known attack on AES 128. The normal brute force attack requires 2 to the power of 128 operations. That's a brute force attack, which we know is not possible. The specialized attack requires about 2 to the power of 126 operations.
林波高原バス停でもいいな、これ。 八王子に抜ける方向、高尾まででもいいんですよ。和田峠6キロ。
Faster than billions of years doesn't really matter. Okay, so in theory, these known attacks are a little bit faster, but not significant. And they require extra memory and extra data to do those attacks. So in theory, attacks, but as far as we know, there are known attacks against AES.
水の駅5キロ。あれ？完全に間違えてないこれ。ああ、藤野。何かなんだねこれ。沢井入り口だ。もうここまで来た。こっちだな。藤野。よっしゃ。荻上チキさん。これをこっちに行くんです。
And as a result, we'll assume that they therefore know that the key that they used is correct. We'll finish with one example, we'll have time. Using KAB with the ciphertext C and get some plaintext. If that ciphertext was obtained by encrypting with KAB, then the plaintext we get out here is the correct one, and the key that we used is the correct one. And that would become useful for authentication. From the other perspective, when we're decrypting ciphertext, if we decrypt using the wrong key, that is, the plaintext was encrypted with KAB, I try to decrypt it with KAX, not the same key. If I decrypt with the wrong key, then we'll assume that the plaintext that comes out is, of course, not the original one, and that we'll recognize that it's not the original one. If we use the wrong key, the one that doesn't match that was used for encryption, will get plain text out which doesn't match the original plain text, and I will know that. And therefore I know that the key I used is wrong.
いや、そうだよね。
So the encryption then just produces output random looking output which we know is wrong. So this is an important assumption, the last two are important assumptions for how we use encryption for confidentiality, but also later for authentication.
Ah, こんにちは。おはようございます。コピーはできないですか？
コピーですか？
はい。
普通の A4 ぐらいでしたらうちの機械がありますけど。
あ
大きいものですか？
あ、A4 で。
いいですか？じゃあ取ってきてあげますよ。ここが
ここで。
ここがあればいいですね。このまんま。
このままで大丈夫です。
ここね。
ここだけで。はい。
はい、
お願いします。大丈夫です、大丈夫です。じゃあ、ありがとうございました。よし、これちょっと。こう言ってもいい。
from A, therefore we'll use KAB to decrypt. And they decrypt what they receive, and they give some value PR, the plaintext received. In this case, we'll assume that there's no attacker in the middle at this stage. So CT and CR are the same. That is CT equal to CR? Yes, in this case. Later we'll see no, but just for this initial case they're the same. So we could have written this equation instead of CR and PR, CT. Does PR equal PT? Does PR, the plaintext received, equal the plaintext transmitted? Yes. Why? Let's look at our assumptions. Yes, I think it's obvious, but let's make sure that our assumptions capture that. Decrypting the ciphertext with assumption A6 on this list, the one at the bottom, decrypting the ciphertext with the correct key, the same key that was used for encryption, will produce the original plaintext. So that's the assumption that tells us that yes, the plaintext received will be the same as the plaintext transmitted. Our assumption, if we use the correct key, and we can see KAB was used to encrypt, KAB, the same key is used to decrypt. If we decrypt CR, which is actually the same as CT, we will get PR being the same as PT. We assume that's the case. That's the obvious case. We get the same plaintext back. So B gets the plaintext. What if, and I will see that in a moment, let's see an attack. From confidentiality perspective, we now have a malicious user, and the malicious user in the middle, instead of C, calling him C, we'll call him Mal, the malicious user. Okay. Now, the malicious user, what do they know in this case? The attacker? Well, the things that they know, let's have a look at this list of assumptions. If we scroll down the assumptions, we talk about what the attacker knows. That's on one of the slides as well. We assume that the attacker knows all the algorithms used. So they know what was used for encrypting and decrypting, whether it was DES, AES, or something else. We assume that the attacker can intercept any message. A message was sent across the network. The attacker can get a copy of that message. They know C, or CT, or CR. They're the same in this case. The attacker does not know the secret values. In our case, they do not know KAB. We'll assume they do not. The last assumption is about brute force attacks. They can't do brute force attacks unless the length of the key is less than a number here, less than about 80 bits. Now that's not precise, but assuming the key is long enough, they will not be able to do a brute force attack and discover the key. So the attacker knows the algorithms, they know the ciphertext, but they don't know the key. The malicious user in this case, they have, let's say CT, what was transmitted, it's also the same as CR. They know the encryption algorithm, the decryption algorithm. They want to find the plaintext or the key. They can't guess the key because it's the length such that they can't do a brute force attack on. So what do they try to do? To get the plaintext, what the attacker can try to do is decrypt using some key, CR. What key can they use to decrypt CR? Any key they like, except one. We'll assume that they cannot use KAB because they don't know KAB. When I say any key, well, they can use a key, but we'll assume that they're not lucky and they can guess KAB because it's so long that the chance of guessing it is so small. So we'll assume whatever the key they try here, it is not KAB. It doesn't matter what we denote, K malicious, whatever key they choose, where the key they use is not equal to the KAB. That is, they don't know KAB. So if we decrypt the ciphertext using some key other than KAB, we get some plaintext. The question is the plaintext the malicious user gets the same as the transmitted plaintext? What's the answer? They decrypted the ciphertext using the key that they chose. The key that they chose is not the same as KAB, and they get some plaintext as output. They apply the function, they get an output. Some plaintext, I denote as the plaintext the malicious user gets. Is that value the same as what A started with? No, it's not, and that's one of our assumptions. A7. Decrypting ciphertext using the incorrect key will not produce the original plaintext. Okay, so if you use a different key, therefore we assume we will never get the same plaintext. And in fact, the malicious user will be able to recognize that this is wrong. They will know that it's not the right plaintext, but that's of no use to them. They want to get the correct one. No, it is not. Okay. This is just showing that we've achieved confidentiality. We've sent a message from A to B. B decrypted it and got the original plaintext because they have the key. The malicious user, they intercept that ciphertext. Even if they try to decrypt, they cannot get the original plaintext because they don't have the key. So that's the concept there. Just showing how we apply those assumptions to show that that's true. Any questions on confidentiality? What does the attacker need to do to find the plaintext? Get 2 copies. 2 copies of what? Right. In this case, we assume the malicious user only knew the current ciphertext and the algorithms, maybe the malicious user has observed past communications and have seen past pairs of past ciphertext messages, different ones, and somehow have managed to learn the corresponding plaintext values. And that's a common assumption in practical attacks, that the attacker, so this is a slight extension, the malicious user also knows pairs, like they know that in the past there was some ciphertext, some old ciphertext that was sent from A to B. They know it was encrypted with the same key, and they have also somehow discovered the corresponding plaintext. This is what we say is a known plaintext ciphertext pair. It's easy to get the old ciphertext values, just intercept many packets, many messages. But how do they get the old plaintext message? And they don't know the key. Maybe the message was released through some other means. Maybe the message was old and it was no longer needed to be kept secret. So therefore it was made public and the attacker learned about that. Therefore the attacker now knows an old ciphertext value, an old corresponding plaintext value. They don't know the key to get them all together, but they know the pair. They can try to use that to help them find the key so that they can decrypt the new ciphertext value they've intercepted. So practical attacks may use past values to try and help. The secure algorithms, it still doesn't make it easy to find the key or decrypt the ciphertext. So for AES, for example, there are no known attacks. Even if you have millions of past pairs of plaintext and ciphertext, it still doesn't help you to get back to the original one. So no, that doesn't help. We'll assume it does not help. Even if you know many of these, it doesn't help. So what will the attacker do to defeat the confidential police service? Well, there's nothing they can do under the assumptions that we're working on. Assuming they can't find the key, and we assume that because it's long enough, like shows a key KAB which was long and random, so the only way the attacker to find it is to guess it, and we know that it would take too long to try and guess that, so they can't find the key. Assuming the algorithm, the encrypt and decrypt algorithms are strong, there are no flaws in them, AES is considered like that, then there's no way for the attacker to find the plaintext in this case, and that gives us our confidentiality. That's why we consider this concept secure. Confidentiality is easy to provide, or compared to some other services. Use a strong encryption algorithm and use a large key. Right? But there are some practical problems of ensuring that the key is kept secret. If the attacker does find the key, we have a problem. We'll assume they cannot. Another service that we'd like to provide, or two others which are related, we use similar techniques, are authentication and integrity. Integrity is about if we send a message from A to B and someone in the middle changes it along the way, can the receiver detect that that change was made? If they can detect the change was made, then we can maintain integrity. If a change can be made without the receiver knowing a change was made, then that's a compromise of the integrity of the data. Authentication is about if someone sends us a message pretending to be A, but they're actually the malicious user, and we think it's from A, then that defeats the authentication service. We want to be able to be sure that the message came from A, not someone pretending to be A. So we'll look at how encryption provides those services as well. So we'll look at some variations on this where the malicious user doesn't just intercept the message, but they may intercept and modify the message. And we'll try to see if the malicious user can modify the message without B detecting that it was modified. If they can, then that attack is successful. Let's go through some scenarios. Draw this again. Same scenario, user A, user B. We start with a transmitted plaintext and a corresponding transmitted ciphertext, which is obtained by encrypting with KAB. We're sending from A to B still, the plaintext, and we transmit that. We transmit CT. Now, let's have the malicious user intercept this message before it gets to B, not just let it go through, but intercept it and try to make a change to that message. With the hope of sending a message on to B, and B thinks it's the original message from A, but it's in fact a modified message. Let's see if that's possible. So what happens now is the malicious user gets a copy. What can they do when they receive CT? Can they read the plaintext? Can the malicious user read the plaintext when they get the ciphertext? No, we just saw in this case they cannot get the plaintext. But they could try to make up some different plaintext and encrypt that and forward it on to B with the hope that B thinks that was the message from A. Let's try that and see what attack may be possible. Let's say that the malicious user gets this ciphertext and modifies it first. And send the modified version onto the user B. That is, the modified one I'll denote as CT prime. Mark up the top prime, just to say that they've changed the ciphertext. Maybe the ciphertext was a million bits, they changed some of those bits to try to perform an attack. Let's see what happens. Where CT prime is different from CT. Different values. We send it on to B. B receives some some ciphertext. I'll denote that as CR. From B's perspective, it's received some bits, some ciphertext. What does B do next? Decrypt. All right, you receive ciphertext, you decrypt. You decrypt what you receive. Decrypt using a key, CR, and we'll get some value. I'll denote as PR. What key do I use to decrypt? KAB. I received a message from A. I think it's from A. The from message, the from field in the message says A. I am B, so I use key KAB. What happens at B now? It gets the wrong plaintext, or it gets recognisably wrong plaintext. That assumption is which number? It's maybe not captured here directly, but it's based upon A7. If we use the wrong key, we'll get, it's a variation of A7. Here is if we're using a different key, or in fact it was a different ciphertext, in fact, we'll get the wrong, recognisably wrong plaintext. Because CR is the same as CT prime. CT prime is different from CT. Okay, we're trying to decrypt the wrong ciphertext here. So we're going to get some plaintext that is different from PT and recognisably wrong. So what will happen? B recognises that the plaintext that they get from their decrypting is wrong. It's just random characters. They expect some English message or some structured message. They decrypt it using a key, some ciphertext, which was not obtained from an original structured plaintext. It was a different one. So B recognises that PR is wrong. So I think the assumptions with, well, we really should have another one that is a variation of A7 is that it's slightly different. Here we say decrypting with the wrong key, but in the same way, if you decrypt different ciphertext, the wrong ciphertext, you will not get you'll get a different plaintext. Decrypting two different ciphertexts will give two different plaintexts if you use the same key. Because CR is different from CT. B recognises the plaintext is wrong. It looks like random characters. It's not a structured message, and therefore has detected something's gone wrong. They don't trust the plaintext. They discard it. So that's the case where the attack, the malicious user tried to modify something, is detected. We don't know how they modified it, but we know something went wrong, so we discard what we received. We don't trust it. We'll try some variations. What could the malicious user try to do such that B doesn't detect that? There are a couple of other choices. What could you try? Today's your chance to put on your malicious hat, your black hat. Try to do some bad things. What could you try to do as a malicious user so that B doesn't detect a change? Change what? We could try to change the plaintext. That's effectively what we did there. If we modify something here, let's say we choose a new plaintext, encrypt that with a key of the malicious user, and send them ciphertext onto B. Similar issue as before. If we have a new plaintext by the malicious user, then the key that was used to encrypt cannot be KAB. Let's try that one. So the application of these assumptions is to apply them, to use some logic to see how they can be used to provide the services. Malicious user. They choose some new plaintext. PT prime. Different plaintext. They want to send, this plaintext was decrease the malicious user's salary by 10,000 baht. They change it to increase. So they try to have a new plaintext and try to fool B into getting that. They choose a new plaintext and they encrypt that new plaintext with a key and get a new ciphertext. What key do they use? Or maybe an easier question, what key do they not use? They cannot use KAB. They can use some other key, we'll denote as key of the malicious user, but it's not KAB because they don't know that. They get some ciphertext, and because it's a different key, we'll assume that the ciphertexts are not the same. CT is not the same as CT prime. We send that on. That is, we send CT prime. User B receives that. They receive CR, which is in fact the same as CT prime. They receive that and try to decrypt. What key do we use to decrypt at user B?